Good morning, Dr. Sheena. How are you doing? Are you there?
Good morning. Yes, I'm very much here.
Yes, it is our pleasure to have you here for the session with us.
Thank you. It's nice to be here with you all, albeit virtually. And yes, thank you for the invitation.
Yes,
and I hope
marketing
that you
has
enjoyed
been
the session.
marketing has been one of the most popular courses for Thai students, and especially at the University of Surrey. So today we are really excited to learn a lot about digital marketing, as it's one of the most demanding careers right now in Thailand. And we are looking forward for the session today so that you can give us more insight and that we can make use of this information to make a better decision on our study journey.
Awesome. Great. So I guess I shall take over now.
Yep.
Okay, I'll just share my screen with you and then we shall get started. Again, welcome everybody to the session today. And again, thank you for having me. Of course, I have a passion for marketing. I think it's one of the most interesting careers, and not just because I'm in it, but because we're all consumers and we've all had an experience of what marketers are doing. And it's something that is ever changing. So there's no dull day. And marketing really is wide. I think for the most part, people tend to think that marketing is the person trying to sell you biscuits in the store or the person who's trying to spray you with perfume in the store. But really, it is quite a wide area, and that is why today we're specifically going to focus on the aspect of marketing in general in the 21st century, and specifically as per relates to the digital aspect of the world right now, really. So this is just a short little bio of me. We have my picture there. My email is there also for anybody who would like to reach out directly. Just feel free to do so. It's just s.karangi@surrey.ac.uk. And in terms of my research interests, I'm interested in the area of sensory marketing. So it's essentially how different colors and smells and touch and music affects our behavior in the context of a retail environment or even online. And as you will see also from, because I touched on some of the aspects in the presentation, I'm also interested in how we can apply technology like virtual and augmented reality in facilitating such sensory engagement with our consumers. So the three key things which I'm going to go through today are the role of technology in contemporary marketing, that is marketing today, and also the use of data as a result, which then gives us a lot of insight on our customers, our consumers, how they're behaving. Because one of the key things of even being a marketer is you really need to understand who your audience is. Once you understand them, understand how they think, how they behave, then you're able to then cater to the needs that they have. So you can have the most fantastic product or service, but if it is not actually meeting a need of the consumers, then it's not actually going to succeed. And then I'm going to conclude by explaining how the Surrey Business School, how we can actually help you navigate this world by the programs that we offer at the university. And then we'll have like a chit chat after. So this is just some information that I gathered around the time when the pandemic was starting around the world. So this is an infographic about digital around the world in April of 2020 this year. Now, during that period, we know that most people were working from home, whether it is students or just people working in general. So the total population of the world we have there is 7.7 billion. And out of this 7.7 billion, we can see that there's a penetration of mobile phone users to the amount of 5.16 billion, right? So that's 66%. And in terms of internet users, out of the 7.77 billion we have 4.57 billion people using the internet. And then out of that also, when it comes to active social media users, so we're talking about people using Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, we have 3.81 billion. Now, as a marketer, you ask yourself, why does this actually matter? You really need to understand that this means that you have various touch points, or rather the reach that you have of consumers around the world is quite wide. So if you're planning to run a campaign, maybe using a mobile, we already know that majority of the world do have access to mobile phones, right? We know that majority of the world do have access to the internet, right? So we have different touch points that we can reach the consumer. Then here, we also have the amount of time people are actually spending on various devices. So we know, number one, people have access. Then when we dig a little bit deeper, we find that during this particular period of when COVID was kicking off, we have around 76% of these users on their smartphones or mobile phones. I know a lot of my students currently even access perhaps their lessons from their mobile phone. So penetration is high, usage is high. So then you'd ask yourself, if your target audience for your particular product or service tended to be a perhaps demographic that used mobile phones, then you know how you're then able to actually reach them. So you know the medium that you need to use to reach them. How you reach them could be through social media, through maybe mobile texting. There are various methods that can actually be applied. And then we have people, 45% on their laptops or their computers. So we can actually see the greatest number is really on the mobile phone. Then we have others using their desktop computers and the tablets. This could be your iPad. And then as we move down, we are seeing the use of smart TVs and streaming devices. We also have people who are using their game consoles, so their PlayStations or their, I can't remember what the other one is. There's PlayStation versus Xbox. Yes, that's the one. And then, of course, we have the penetration now of smart speakers. So you have them in your house. You can talk to them. They are, well, I don't want to say they're gathering information about you, but really it is machine learning. They're getting to understand you more as the consumer and your needs and your wants. So here we're talking about, say, using Alexa. You tell Alexa, Alexa, turn on the timer for 15 minutes because you're baking your cookies. Or you ask Alexa, what is the weather like? Or maybe you ask Alexa to remind you to, I don't know, pick up something from the store. And then on top of that, we have smartwatches. Now, this is really just a summary of the various devices that are currently in use around the world. And also it demonstrates the usage or the penetration of people actually using these devices. Now, these are by no means all of them, because as we know, technology is evolving and changing every time. So we'll probably even add to this list in the next 2 to 3 years. Point is, as a brand, as you will see, you cannot afford to ignore the digital aspect of marketing. So what is this digital marketing I'm talking about? It's basically you achieving your marketing objectives through applying digital media, data, and technology. So you're using all these different channels that you have at your disposal to reach your consumers. And also, as we'll discuss later, you're using the various technologies and softwares and apps that you have at your disposal to reach consumers through the various devices. Now here, we see the evolution of digital marketing from the 90s all the way to 2016 until now. So if we look as far back as 1992, that's when SMS messaging was actually taking off. At this particular time, mobile phone penetration wasn't actually high. Phones were actually very, very expensive, and they were literally the size of, probably double the size of your TV remote control, right? We've really come a long way since then. But really, this just shows you how technology has evolved over time. And I circled 2010 because we can see that this is when we had the advent of the iPad. You know, iPad now seems like it's a very common device to have, but really it just came out in 2010. And as a result of that, we had the apps like Instagram. And also we found in 2010 that the internet actually surpassed newspapers, right? In terms of use and in terms of people's engagement with it. So at this point, you're thinking of this situation as a brand that if you are primarily perhaps advertising or reaching your target audience through newspapers, and you're seeing that in 2010, internet has surpassed this, then if you want to survive in this world, you'd actually tell yourself that I need to actually take my maybe market communications online, because most of the users are actually migrating there. Then we also have in 2014, when they found that mobile then actually surpassed desktop users. So now we know the internet surpassed the newspaper in 2010. 4 years later, mobile then surpassed the use of the internet via your desktop computer. And this is quite clear from what I had shown you earlier in terms of people spending more time on devices. We can see that the smartphone and the mobile phone actually has the greatest number of people using these devices. And then when we look at 2016 to now, because again, a lot of stuff has changed, we have what we term as the Internet of Things. And I'm going to cover that in detail in the slides that are coming up. And then we find here that mobile also overtakes email and social and online ad spend, right? So again, we see a shift where we have retailers or brands who are then shifting, right, from the, say, email and social to actually using mobile completely. But I would say that it's not that one method is better than the other. Really, with the technology evolving, what it's doing is essentially giving you more ways to actually reach potential consumers or your target audience, and it's giving you different touch points. So it's then up to you as a brand to decide, am I going to have a combination of what we term as traditional, say, marketing communications like newspapers or using print magazines, and then combining that with an online element like using social media. Now, we see this all the time. There are still ads that are running on TV. So TV is still useful in terms of reaching a wide number of people. And then maybe perhaps the cons of that is that it tends to be quite expensive depending on when you want your particular ad to run. And then now when we think of the internet, the wonderful thing with the internet and the combination of that and the mobile phone is that we are always moving with our mobile phones wherever we are. If you're going to take a shower, you're going in with your phone. If you're going to take out the garbage, you're going with your phone. So this is good news for us as marketers and brands, because it means we can reach our consumers anytime, right, anywhere. So it kind of removes the restriction of time that perhaps you would have with, traditional forms of maybe media or traditional forms of interacting with your customers. Say, if you were solely a physical store that opened at 9 and closed at 5, your time with the customer would be limited to that period. But now with the internet, they can shop anytime they want. And over and above that, I can even shop from underneath my blanket through my mobile phone. So essentially, that's how you view this as a marketer. Different ways of reaching the consumer, right? There are aspects of it which actually tend to be cheaper. If you think of social media, for example, if you're running a campaign on Instagram, maybe you just need to have a hashtag, and then the hashtag goes viral. So there's an element of also speed there. So platforms like Twitter and Instagram have given us not just wider access to an audience, but we're also then able to target who exactly we want to go after. So this is maybe would come under the category of influencer marketing. So you have your people on Instagram who you follow for various reasons. So if I know that Sheena is on Instagram and she has 100,000 followers or even 50,000, I'm able to look at Sheena's content and I'm able to actually determine the type of audience she would then have, their age groups, and their likes. So if that is in line with what I am selling as a brand, instead of trying to reach everybody through mass advertising, I'm more likely to go through Sheena, maybe send her my product, then have her talk about my product on her channel, because I know through that there's going to be a level of increased trust with her audience because she has her followers and they're more than likely going to then want to buy what she likes. So think about it from that perspective as a marketer, and it actually becomes quite exciting for us. So key thing I want you to take away from this slide is that in this day and age, there's absolutely no way that you can afford to avoid digital if you actually want to succeed. So now we're going to look at technology and marketing. So I got this from a very recent article from a really good journal. It was basically looking at the future of tech in marketing. So it touches on various areas, but because of time, I'm only going to focus on 3 of these areas. So it looks at how technology is going to then shape the health sector. It's looking at AI, which is artificial intelligence and robotics. It also looks at the dark web and chatbots. It also touches on the influence when it comes to mobile and social, how tech will revolutionize the in-store technology and our experiences within the store as consumers, and also the aspect of legacy technology. But I'll only touch on the second one, which is AI and robotics, the fourth and the fifth, which is mobile and social and in-store technology. Now, overall, you will see that these technologies are then giving us a lot of benefits because they're giving us access to larger amounts of data. I don't know if you guys have heard about big data before. You know, data is where all the money is. That's why we're always seeing these cases of perhaps maybe the CEO of Facebook having to go and answer, right, to the Congress in America about what are you doing with the data? How is it actually used? Because the more information you have, right, the more power you have, because you understand people's behavior better, and you're then able to then influence that behavior, or at least know what to then sell or target that consumer with. There's a very interesting, I don't know if you've seen it on Netflix, there's a very interesting documentary. I think, is it called Social? I can't remember the name. I think I'll share it with you, Park, later. But really, it just shows you the power of information and how social media influences our moods, which then influences our behavior. Now, the documentary itself maybe touches on the more darker elements of it and how that can kind of mess with your psychology, but really it shows you how all these brands or these companies are then able to harness your data. But don't be scared. Information is power. It's really just for you more so to understand. So please do watch that. Then also this information, this data is good because you're then able to deliver a more improved customer experience to people. So if you know that Sheena likes buying A, B, C, D products, maybe she buys them every 2 weeks. Now, based on my spending, which you're then able to gather from perhaps my loyalty card, you're then able to decide that, you know what, I'm going to send Sheena, with this information I have on her, I'm going to then send her coupons in relation to the things that she likes buying. So when you make your even advertising more targeted, it's going to be more relevant to me. And chances are I'm going to then end up coming to redeem those coupons either in the store or online. Now, as I said that, you know, when you're talking about information and data, it also raises some concerns when it comes to information security and potential privacy risks. So there's always a fine balance to actually strike to make sure you're not going overboard. A couple of years ago, when mobile marketing was a big thing, at some point, I remember I did some research and found that in order for mobile marketing to be accepted, consumers wanted to have the option to either opt in or opt out of the messages. So that's why you find now with a lot of brands, they always have to get you to agree that you're okay with either receiving email notifications or you're okay with receiving mobile notifications. So that is a requirement, because it is my right as a consumer to decide if I do or if I don't, so that my privacy is not infringed upon. Now, on to the first topic of AI and robotics. Now, artificial intelligence is basically software and services that perform the tasks previously requiring human analysis and interaction. So essentially, you have this intelligent being behind the scenes that is gathering all of this information through IT, and then it's also learning. So it's not just gathering and using and executing that at that particular time. It actually almost has a brain of its own. So it's able to learn through experience, right? The way we do as human beings. So some people find this really cool. Others find it kind of creepy, because you do have people saying that, okay, if we have these platforms which are basically AI, does it mean that one day they're actually going to know more than we know and then begin telling us what to do? Because we can't process at the speed that they can process because they're machines. And if we give them the ability of learning, are we going to reach a point where they actually just overtake humanity? But then that is a story for another day. Yeah. So it's essentially, artificial intelligence marketing is a method of now using all this customer data and all these AI concepts like machine learning. Basically what I've explained, the machine is actually learning as it pulls from all of these different sources. You're then able to anticipate what the customer is then going to do. As a result of that, you're then able to improve the journey of the consumer. So the practical application of this is through things like facial recognition, right? Say through your mobile phone, whether it's voice recognition through Alexa or when you're using your Amazon Echo. Or I think now I've seen what banks are doing is that if you're using their, say, mobile banking platform, instead of you having to put in your password, they tell you that you just need to record your voice, and then that's going to be your password. You're going to recognize your voice. Now, all that falls under the category of AI, because it has to then be able to recognize in future that the voice I'm hearing is matching on most levels with the voice that I heard before. And then in retailing, we see the use of chatbots. Now, basically, if you've ever experienced going on a website, you're trying to shop for something, and then there's this annoying little box that pops up on the bottom right of the screen saying, "Hi, how can I help you today?" That is not somebody who is sitting at their desk waiting for Sheena to pop on. It's actually AI. So that's like an automated chatbot. Then we also have the Internet of Things, again, which I'm going to touch on in the slides which are coming up. So in essence, we have this AI that is being used to actually better harness all the information that we have around us. And the main reason for this is that so that we're able to better understand the consumer, we're then better able to understand and predict their behavior. And if you can predict what Sheena is then going to do, then we're able to actually go before Sheena and make the journey a lot smoother for her. Another application of AI we see is when we're looking at driverless cars, which are being tested out now. So these cars are learning over time to be able to recognize, to anticipate or know that if they're driving too close, that is dangerous, to be able to then anticipate. And I think this is where they seem to actually be failing right now, because you as a driver have to be able to anticipate what the people walking on the side of the road are actually going to do. How do you then tell a robot to recognize whether somebody is intending to cross the road or not? Some things are actually very hard to actually build in. So all you can do is feed this intelligence system with all possible scenarios that come up, and then over time, hope that it has learned enough to then be able to decipher that and know what that would look like in a real life setting. So there are still a few bugs in it, but which I think are good, because at some point you may realize there's actually no need for a human being, because the machine can do everything 10 times better, you know? So applications of this in the retail sector, we see Starbucks is using predictive analytics. So they're using this information to then predict behavior. And the whole purpose of this is to then be able to have a more personalized recommendation for their customers. So they have a loyalty card, and they also have a mobile app. So these mobile apps are then able to collect and analyze customer data. I think, you know, for the longest time, people thought that you're the one who's getting the benefit from having a loyalty card because, yes, I get a discount. But you'll find that some stores don't actually give you any discounts, but they want you to always swipe. This is actually their way of collecting data on you. You filled out your card, and then they tell you that if you want to redeem the points, you have to actually go ahead and register your details online. Otherwise, the points won't go on the card. So you fill in your profile. They know, it doesn't even matter. They may not even need to know your name. They know your gender. They know perhaps your general location. And based on your purchases, they know what you're buying. So then they can use all of that data, feed it into this system that's then able to analyze and understand Sheena and build a customer profile on Sheena and related customers, so that you know that we've identified this type of customer, customer A. So you're building a persona. Then you have customer B, customer C. And then out of these personas, you then know how you're then able to target them in various ways. And we're also seeing with this particular Starbucks app, as you can see from the images, they've also added other elements like gamification. So they've added games. So you buy a product, you're collecting points, and then you're reaching different levels. So you're making it more fun. Gamification really is just trying to increase the level of interaction with your customer. And gamification is also used a lot in the classroom, where you're running fun quizzes on Kahoot. It's a very simple app, but people get to earn points, and then different points, and you get rewards, and it's just quite exciting for students. So it really does work in terms of increasing engagement. And also, we're also finding that brands like Starbucks are then integrating their app with other apps like Spotify, so the music app. And all of this really at the end of the day is just so that you're able to create a more personalized experience for Sheena and for all your other customers. Because when it is personalized, it is more relevant. So I'm going to be more likely to pay more attention to it and to act upon this information. I think one key thing I'll mention here is that this is necessary because you have to remember you're not operating in a bubble. You have various competitors around you. Everybody's watching the other person. Everybody's competing for the same customers. So you really do need to find a way to cut through the clutter to reach those people. Then we also saw AI being used by Ben & Jerry's, and they launched a range of breakfast flavors, right? So cereal, but in the flavors of your favorite ice cream. Now they did this because they found a link between ice cream and breakfast when they looked at various songs that are available out there. So using all of this data, they then decided, you know what, let's come up with a cereal that is ice cream flavored, right? Two seemingly unrelated concepts, but because of the data, it made sense and it sold. Now, Internet of Things, I'll show you a video later if we have time. It's basically connecting everyday things, which are then embedded with electronics. So everything is connected and talking. They're all talking to each other. So you have software and you have sensors, right, on the internet, and then they're able to collect information and exchange information. So this is a video which I'll show you at the end of somebody driving down a highway, and then they get a warning sign in the car. Then that warning sign is then, they're able to then, the car then is able to talk to the garage and tell the people in the garage that something needs to be changed, and then they go ahead and book an appointment for the person. So you don't really have to do anything as the customer. You just have to go through, everything is sorted for you, and you get a notification that you take your car in at this particular time. So I hope we have time at the end for that. We've talked about chat boxes. This is just an example of one that Sephora was using, where it says, hi, welcome to Sephora. Again, this is not somebody sitting just waiting for you to come on the site. It's an automated system. And they actually found that 85% of, or rather they were predicting at the time, we're in 2020 now, that 85% of consumer interactions are actually going to be handled without a human agent. We see this a lot. You call on the phone, it's an automated voice. So you think you're talking to somebody, they care about your feelings, but it's actually a robot, right? And then when it comes to in-store technology, we are seeing the use of augmented reality. So this is where you're basically superimposing maybe an object into the real world. So if you look at the one on the right, this is the Kia app, which is available to all of you through the App Store. If you're shopping for a chair, you're then able to size the chair, look at the different colors, and decide whether it's going to fit or look nice with your decor. And we are seeing this also being taken up by luxury brands like Burberry on the left, where you can search for an item and then look at it through your phone in augmented reality, and then you can turn the image around, and essentially you're just kind of creating a more real-like or real-life experience through these devices. And I think this is quite relevant now, especially with COVID. Then you have virtual reality. The main difference between the two is that for virtual, you're then fully immersed into a different world. So you're putting on your VR glasses and you feel like you're in this world. Topshop did this. It's a clothing store here. So they had customers put on these VR headsets, and they were able to actually view this sort of interactive pool scene where they felt like they were going down a water slide. Now, some may have argued that this was kind of like a frivolous or very expensive venture to go down, but they actually found that it didn't have an impact on the sale of swimwear, which increased by 100% as compared to the same period in the previous year. So these things do actually work. And then also on the bottom right, we have Audi. Instead of you having to actually sit in the car and go for a test drive, especially in this age of Corona, all you have to do is put on the glasses and you have a virtual experience. You're looking around the car, you're seeing what it's like, getting an experience of what it would feel when you're in there. This is basically 7Fresh. JD.com, which is actually a competitor of Alibaba in China, opened their high-tech stores in 2018. Essentially, what we have there is we have a lady who's moving around with a shopping cart. Instead of her actually pushing the cart around, the cart is a robot, so it's moving around with her. So what it then does for you is that it frees you up, right? You can move around the store freely, you put your stuff in there, and then the cart is also able to pick up what has been put in the cart through the code, and then automatically just add it to the list of items that you then need to pay for. Then you can pay for your item and leave. And then similarly, this is Hema, which is Alibaba store. So in their store, they have these QR codes. So you scan a QR code for a food item, you're then able to actually see where the product was sourced from, when it was harvested, when it was delivered, get more information about the product. Again, this is a video which again I think we'll share at the end, which then shows you how the Hema store actually works. But it is the epitome of using tech within the retail sector and just making the experience more fun for customers. Then, of course, we have smart mirrors where you don't have to physically go and try on your clothes. All you have to do is stand in front of it and then just swipe, and then it kind of superimposes different outfits on you. Or if you're trying different shades of lipstick, just swipe and then different shades appear on your lips. Then we have the Amazon Go automated checkout. So we all have, I think most of us have an Amazon account, right? So the store basically is, I just walk into the store, I scan my phone, I pick up my items. As I'm putting my items in the basket, it's already adding them to the list, right? Because I've already scanned my app. And then all I have to do is walk out of the store. I don't have to talk to anybody because as I walk out of the store, it's already automatically checked me out and charged me for the items. So this then eliminates the need to have any cashiers or any people around the store. So essentially, you're saving yourself a lot of money as a retailer. Yeah, so beacon technology is kind of related to what I talked about before. You have these devices around the store which are talking to the customer through Bluetooth. So if you know Sheena is standing here, maybe you're standing near the shoes, then you're going to send her a little message saying that actually, Sheena, these shoes are on sale today. So you're prompting my behavior based on my proximity to certain items. So chances are I'm more likely to then take advantage of that. Or I'm walking outside, maybe a coffee shop, and then I get a message as I'm passing by that actually today we have an offer for get a free donut when you buy coffee. So because it is so relevant to me and I'm just near the store, I'm more likely to enter than had I received the message if I was sitting at home on my sofa. So that's location-based sensing. And then the last bit is the mobile and social. I think this is pretty much straightforward. The mobile phone is a very powerful platform. We are seeing now that farms are having a social presence. So we have two aspects here. We have the farm-generated social, and then we have the user-generated social. So from the farms aspect, they have accounts on Snapchat, they have accounts on Twitter. It's just their way to kind of interact with the users here in a more fun way. You see, like here on the left, we have Burger King, which is saying, why would you marry chicken fries? Lol. So it's a very casual, like fun way to interact with people, put out tweets, not too serious. You can put out real-time information. And then we have PlayStation who have their own Twitter page. And it's just more so to generate conversation and to talk to people in real time. And then on the other end, we have now you and me, the users. So we are creating our own content, maybe on TikTok. You're also having brands coming on these platforms and perhaps saying that, okay, you seem to be doing quite well on TikTok. Do you want to take over our channel for the day? So you're leveraging the influence of the aspect of having an influencer who has followers and then asking them to come onto your site. You also have Instagram here where you pay various influencers a certain amount of money to maybe talk about your product. Maybe per post you pay them, I don't know, depending on the popularity and the size of the influencer, you pay them, say, £5,000. Now, in summary, we've looked at all of these tech items. One of the greatest things it has enabled us to do as marketers and is enabling us to do is not just better engage with our customers, which means perhaps, of course, better sales, but also everything we're doing now is driven by data. And all of these devices and technologies we've talked about are ways of collecting data and learning from this data to then be able to create more customized, more personalized and better experiences for consumers moving forward. So again, this is another video. Hopefully, I might just show that one instead of the other two, maybe in the next like 2 minutes. So now, we've seen that there's going to be a new wave or a new form of retail in 2020 and beyond. So this is just a really good example of what it looks like, as per shown with the Alibaba store in China. So where does Surrey Business School come in? How can Surrey Business School help you? Now, one of the advantages of doing a master's with us is that you actually get to have exemption from taking certain assessments with the Chartered Institute of Marketing. Now, the CIM is a body that is recognized, it's a professional body for marketers, and it's recognized worldwide. And if you look at most job adverts, they want somebody who is also CIM certified. So by doing our programs, you're able to, because of the modules that we've covered, if you then choose to go on and do your certificate or your diploma with CIM, there are certain courses that you don't have to do, right? So that means that you've actually saved yourself time and you save yourself money from having to actually pay for them. So CIM certification is an important thing. So that is inbuilt in our programs. So we have the certificate, we have the diploma. This is basically just advice, because students sometimes ask us, okay, if I'm doing this master's, when would I actually be able to do this? Should I do it during my program or after? So we say, if you're going to do the certificate, it's better to actually do it right after you finish your degree, right? So because you have exemptions, it's not going to take you long. It'll just take you a few months. If you're doing your diploma, you can actually do this once you begin working. And this can actually be a good bargaining tool for you to use, where you're asking your employers or potential employers, if I come and work for you, is there some sort of maybe subsidy, or would you then be able to pay for my training to get this diploma as I'm here? So that then shows them that this person is actually quite proactive and wants to actually learn more, as in is engaged with the wider marketing community. So those are the pros for you. And then you'd even tell them that actually the degree that I have exempts me from some of the modules, so it's not going to cost you as much as a full course. And then these centers are located all over the world, so you're spoiled for choice, really. You can do them online, you can do them in person, or you can do them over the weekend. So whatever suits you, really. So this is just the specifics of what specific modules you're going to be exempt from. So I will just brush over these, and I think, Park, you're going to have this information. Isabel, you'll have this if students want more detailed info. Now, for the MSc Digital Marketing and Channel Management program, these are the modules that we cover. So when you first come, there are going to be 4 compulsory modules that you have to do in the first term. This is digital marketing and social media. I think from the previous slides, you've seen the relevance of why this is important to do. We're also then going to teach you how to do marketing research. So how do you then use all of this information to then, be able to predict behavior, be able to understand past behavior, etc. And then we're also going to look at channel management. So the various channels that you're actually using. How do you actually manage these? And then, of course, because we know we are living in the age of entrepreneurship, so a lot of you in this room might actually be people who own your own businesses, whether you're selling jewelry, whether you're selling hair, whatever it may be, you're all entrepreneurs in the making at least. So we're then going to teach you within this digital economy, the landscape that we have, how can you then combine this with your entrepreneurship spirit? Because essentially, we want you to have jobs after, we want you to even own your own businesses after. So it is essential to have a module like that. And then in the second term, you're going to learn about marketing, analytics, that's just basically data. You're going to learn about integrated marketing communications. So how you're then able to combine different platforms, whether you're using social, you're using email marketing, you're using mobile marketing, right? And then we're also going to look at the international fashion marketing and luxury branding sector, because that is always exciting. You may perhaps want to venture into this area. As we saw earlier, luxury fashion brands such as Burberry are actually beginning to use these emerging technologies. They're using augmented reality because they've seen, okay, things are changing. We know that customers prefer to come in the store, touch the products, walk around the store, but not everybody is able to do that. And especially now with Corona, how can we still create that personalized, luxurious experience without them having to come in? Use the tech that's there. And then that combines with international retailing. So retailing stores around the world, how all that works. And then, of course, the most important thing really in life, when it comes to marketer consumer behavior. You need to understand your consumers and how you go about understanding them. And then e-business is just like e-commerce. And then you also have a digital project development, or you can actually do your dissertation. Now we have two options. You can actually do the program with placement. So if you want to do the degree alone, it's 12 months. You can also do the degree with a placement of 1 year. So you get to actually study and then go out and secure a placement and then go and work for a company for 1 year. So it's a good way for you to then test out and see what areas you like, how what you've learned applies in the real world. So that by the time you're graduating after the second year, you have an idea of what exactly it is you want to actually or what you want to actually do. And for you guys as international students, this would give you the opportunity to then actually work here, because it's part of the I think the visa that you get. You'd get it for that period. So you study and then you work. Some students normally ask, what if I'm not able to secure a placement? That's fine. You can always then just revert back to the 12-month degree and then finish within the 1 year period. So really, you haven't lost anything. Now, possible careers, there are so many. You can be a digital marketing manager. You can work in the social media space. You can become a digital marketing strategist, e-commerce channel manager. You could work specifically with content. So maybe you could be in touch, or you could be in charge of the company's social accounts. So you're the one who's managing their Snapchat page. You're the one who's managing their Twitter page and actually looking for influencers that you can actually use to propel your brand. And then we also have two other degrees that we offer at Surrey. We have the digital marketing one that I've talked about. We also have international marketing, and we also have a degree in strategic marketing. Now, all of them give you various opportunities depending on what you want to do. Say, for example, with international marketing, you can choose to be an international market research analyst. You can choose to be a consultant when it comes to international practices, or even like a global brand manager or consultant. With strategic marketing, right, it's more so how do you strategize, right? You can be a marketing manager, marketing data analyst. So essentially what I'm saying is that we have the full package for you here at Surrey. It really just depends on what it is you want to do, what your passion is, and what you actually want to do after. And of course, we are always here to then advise you and give you even further information if you have questions. So being at Surrey, specifically the Department of Marketing and Retail Management that I'm in, is a wonderful place to explore marketing because we have excellent research, very friendly staff. It's a really good location. It's very green. We have a lot of engagement with employers and industry in general, whether that is them coming in and giving talks, or whether that is you then doing placements with them. And also we have a gold standard in teaching excellence. And I think with that, I'll say that I'll ask if there are any questions, and we hope to actually welcome you soon to Surrey. If we have time later on, I'll show you the video on what the new retail looks like. If not, I will make sure that Park gets it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sheena. I think you have given us a beautiful insight of what digital marketing really is. And from here, I will just give a message out to our audience here today in Thai, so that I give them a brief summary, and also give them an opportunity to raise up their hand, and if they have any questions, or if they want to get into the interview room directly with Isabel. นะครับเป็นยังไงบ้างครับวันนี้ข้อมูลที่ได้มาจาก Surrey Business School นี่ต้องบอกเลยว่าเนื้อหาเข้มข้นมากแล้วก็ผมชอบมากๆเลยนะที่เขาอย่างแรกเลยคือเขาไม่ได้อยู่ไกลจากตัวลอนดอนเท่าไหร่ทำให้ในการที่เราได้ทำ placement year หรือว่าเป็นการฝึกงานหรือว่าเป็นการที่ได้ฟังนักพูดเก่งๆจากบริษัทต่างๆเข้ามาถึงตัวมหาวิทยาลัยเนี่ยครับโอกาสมันมีค่อนข้างเยอะมากๆเลยนะครับอย่างที่ดร. ชีน่าบอกครับว่าตอนนี้ทุกอย่างมันเป็นเทคโนโลยีหมดแล้วก็คนที่อยากที่จะเข้าสู่ถึงโอกาสใหม่ๆในทางด้านการเป็นมาร์เก็ตติ้งการที่เราผันตัวมาเป็นดิจิทัลมาร์เก็ตเตอร์เนี่ยครับมันถือว่าเป็นโอกาสที่หลายๆองค์กรชั้นนำทั่วโลกไม่ว่าจะเป็นแฟชั่นไม่ว่าจะเป็นรีเทลไม่ว่าจะเป็นออโตโมบิลไม่ว่าจะเป็นบริษัทอะไรก็แล้วแต่ตอนนี้หันมาใช้ข้อมูลนะครับในการที่ช่วยส่งเสริมการขายให้กับกลุ่มลูกค้า ผ่านทางดิจิทัลแพลตฟอร์มต่างๆนะครับอันนี้ขออนุญาตทุกท่านที่อยู่วันนี้ครับแชทกันเข้ามานิดนึงว่ามีใครสนใจที่จะคุยต่อกับคุณอิซาเบลไหมครับเกี่ยวกับเรื่องหลักสูตรเป็นยังไงค่าใช้จ่ายเท่าไหร่หรือว่าอยากคุยข้อมูลในเชิงลึกเกี่ยวกับตัวมหาวิทยาลัยหรือหลักสูตรนะครับสามารถทักแชทเข้ามาได้เลยนะครับเดี๋ยวเราจะมีเซสชันในการอินเทอร์วิววันออนวันให้นะครับผมระหว่างที่รอเพื่อนๆทุกคนแชทเข้ามานะครับก็เดี๋ยวเราจะคุย Q&A กันนิดนึงดีกว่านะครับใครมี Q&A นะครับสามารถทักเข้ามาในแชทได้เลยเช่นกันนะครับอันนี้ผมลองทักเข้าไปในแชทก่อนเนอะใครเห็นก็เดี๋ยวพิมพ์เข้ามาได้นะครับโอเคครับคุณพรวัฒนานะครับสนใจนะครับโอเคได้เลยครับเดี๋ยวคุณพรวัฒนาเดี๋ยวอันนี้เป็นคิวแรกเลยนะครับIsabel, we have one student who would like to continue the conversation with you. So our back-end team will create the breakout room and send you to that room with the student.
Okay, right, sounds good.
นะครับมีน้องๆท่านไหนสนใจต่อคิวไหมครับในการที่จะคุยกับคุณอิซาเบลวันนี้ครับอันนี้เดี๋ยวคุยกันไปเรื่อยๆเนอะแล้วเดี๋ยวผม Q&A ดรชีน่าไปเรื่อยๆเราจะได้ไม่เบื่อนะครับ so Dr. Sheena So we are coming now to the Q&A while waiting for students to decide to go into the breakout room with Isabel for the interview sessions.
Okay.
So I have the list of questions here that I would want to ask you, and so maybe hopingly the guest for us today will be able to see why they want to consider Surrey Business School, and especially to the digital program at Surrey, right? Okay. So when we're talking about the digital program, and especially for the master level,
yes,
what kind of industrial connection do students get to do when they are at the university?
Okay, so we can look at it from two perspectives. So during the program itself, we try to combine aspects of teaching you as well as bringing people in from industry to perhaps even give guest lectures or guest talks. And we do have, especially I think with our MBA program, we do have a good connection with industries and local businesses also. So this can actually be quite useful for students when it comes to looking for placement and also perhaps looking for jobs. So the master's program also is very, it integrates a lot of research. So it's not just material from textbooks, but also what researchers have actually found through journal articles. So we are then able to specifically link the academic side of things with the practical elements. So how this then applies in the real world, what it then looks like. So we do have a lot of industry engagement in that sense, whether it is also welcoming people to come and do webinars or talks in general, even just for like the whole cohort. I think recently we had a speaker coming from the Chartered Institute of Marketing to answer questions for our master students regarding the program and the benefits of doing CIM and the different levels and how they can actually benefit. So we are constantly striving to link the academic side with the practical side of things, not just within our lectures and the examples that we're using, but also in the literal sense by engaging more so with industry people.
Excellent. ครับก็คือการเรียนของ University of Surrey นะครับเขาไม่ได้เน้นเรียนแค่ในห้องเรียนอย่างเดียวนะครับเพราะว่าทางมหาวิทยาลัยเนี่ยจะมีคนจากองค์กรต่างๆองค์กรชั้นนำต่างๆครับเข้ามาที่มหาวิทยาลัยเพื่อที่จะให้เป็น guest lecturer นะครับเพราะฉะนั้นเราจะเนี่ยแน่นอนเลยจะไม่ได้เรียนแค่จากในตำราอย่างเดียวแหละแต่ว่าเราจะได้เรียนจากเนื้อหาแล้วก็โลกในยุคปัจจุบันเลยครับว่าการทำงานทางด้าน digital marketing เนี่ยต้องมีความรู้อะไรบ้างแล้วก็จะมาแชร์มุมมองมาแชร์เทคนิคมาแชร์ case study กันต่างๆให้เกิดขึ้นเป็นองค์ความรู้ในห้องเรียนนะครับ Okay, my second question, Sheena.
Yes.
Because we are talking about digital marketing and a lot of people will think it's data driven, right? It's data, it's number. But do you think creativity is important to be a digital marketer? Is it important?
I think it's not important, it's essential. You have to be creative. It's essential, not just even just say if you're not doing digital marketing or specializing in digital marketing, in general in marketing, you have to be creative because two things to consider. As I always tell my students that you as a business, you're not operating in a bubble. And as Sheena is here with her brand, Park is there with his company, which is similar to mine. We are all competing for the same people. We are all trying to get their attention, maybe through advertising. But if you think about the amount of adverts, for example, you're exposed to on a daily basis, most of them you just kind of ignore, you never remember. You see a lot of ads at the train station, you never see them. So really at this point in time, with the increased competition, you have less attention from consumers. So how are you then going to be able to cut through the clutter to be able to reach them? So number one, how are you going to get Sheena's attention? Then once you have Sheena's attention, how are you going to then retain Sheena's attention for her then to be able to process what it is that you want to tell her, what it is you're trying to actually sell. So this calls for a lot of creativity. We've seen we have these different tech elements at our disposal now. So understanding that we have mobile, people's behavior with mobile, people's behavior with social media, what they're doing, then it's not just enough for you to use those platforms, because remember, everybody else is there. You then have to be creative in how you use the platforms, how you combine the different elements. If it's coming up with a campaign, if it is coming up with a creative way to increase engagement. Traditional, say, advertising is you show people a billboard, you show something on TV, and that's it. But now we're finding with social media, the benefit it's giving us is that we're able to have two-way communication in real time. So you have a hashtag that you put out, it goes viral. Like literally you sleep today, wake up tomorrow, everybody's talking about it. And that works both ways, good or bad. So if something bad happens, everybody will know about it. If it's something good, it's going to be fun. And then the consumer is going to then forward it to their friends. So essentially, the consumers are co-creators in the process of getting the word out, right? So you have to be creative. I know there was a company that came up with a scavenger hunt. So what they were doing was that there were different parts of the city where they had QR codes. So you go with your mobile phone and you scan, it gives you some information, it gives you a clue. And then with that clue, you go to another spot. So you literally have people going around the city playing this game, for this brand. It's fun, it's exciting, it does actually work because you have greater engagement, and chances are with that you're going to have greater recall in terms of they're going to remember your brand. And at the end of the day, you're rewarding them with something. There's a prize at the end of it because we're all humans at the end of the day. We love rewards, we love surprises, we love games. So why not take that aspect and then put it in the sphere of marketing and make it fun? So yes, you have to be creative. Creativity is essential. But remember, the second thing is that with creativity, you have to remember that you don't actually lose the relevance of the message or lose the relevance of what you're trying to communicate to your customers or what it is you're trying to do. So it really is a fine balance. Be fun, be creative, but then don't go so far off that people are like, okay, I don't understand what people are trying to do. Yeah.
Well, I think that is excellent question, and let me just translate it to the audience.
Okay.
ครับผมก็ได้ถามคุณชีน่าไปครับว่าตอนนี้ความเป็นดิจิทัลมาร์เก็ตเตอร์เนี่ยมันหมายความว่าเราต้องทำแต่เกี่ยวกับเรื่องตัวเลขอย่างเดียวทำเกี่ยวกับเรื่อง Data เกี่ยวกับเรื่อง Information Centric อย่างเดียวหรือเปล่าซึ่งอาจารย์ชีน่าครับตอบว่าไม่เลยนะครับการเป็นดิจิทัลมาร์เก็ตเตอร์สิ่งสำคัญและสิ่งที่ต้องเรียกว่าเป็นแกนหลักสำคัญเลยเนี่ยมันคือการที่เราจะต้องมีความ creativity ด้วยซึ่งเนื้อหาหลักในการสอนของ Surrey Business School ไม่ได้ต้องการสอนให้เข้าใจถึงหลักเทคโนโลยีเพียงแค่อย่างเดียวแต่ว่าต้องการที่จะสอนให้ทุกคนเข้าถึงในการเป็นมนุษย์ให้ได้มากที่สุดในการสื่อสารทำยังไงให้สิ่งที่เราพยายามสื่อสารน่าสนใจทำยังไงให้สิ่งที่เราพยายามสื่อสารมันมีความแตกต่างจากคนอื่นๆนะครับเพราะฉะนั้นอันนี้ผมมองว่าเป็นจุดต่างจุดหนึ่งเลยที่ Surrey Business School เนี่ยสามารถมีให้พวกเราได้แล้วที่สำคัญ Surrey Business School เป็นมหาวิทยาลัยที่ค่าใช้จ่ายไม่แพงนะครับเมื่อเทียบกับมหาวิทยาลัยอื่นๆเนี่ย Surrey Business School ค่าใช้จ่ายตอนนี้นี่เดี๋ยวลองถ้าเกิดสนใจนะเข้าไปคุยกับคุณอิซาเบลนะครับรู้สึกว่าเขาจะมีทุนสำหรับนักเรียนไทยด้วยนะครับยังไงเขาอุ๊บอิ๊บไว้ก่อนนะครับเดี๋ยวยังไงเราสามารถทักกับคุณอิซาเบลได้พอดีว่าเขาจะมีข้อมูลมากกว่าผมนะครับตอนนี้เรามี2คิวนะครับถ้าเกิดท่านไหนสนใจที่จะขอคิวเข้าไปคุยกับคุณอิซาเบลต่อเนี่ยเดี๋ยวสามารถบอกเราได้เลยนะครับ And also Sheena, and this will be my last question for today. Mm-hmm. And so our interview session will continue. because I know you have so many, a lot of things that you need to do in the UK right now. How would you see the future of digital marketing? Are there the real demand in the future job and careers?
I think that would be, I don't know if you have time. Like, I literally have like a 5-minute video, which I've added Thai subtitles at the bottom, so at least to make it easier for like the audience to follow through. I think that's going to be the perfect answer to your question, because it's showing you what retail looks like now. And then that's going to then help everybody understand how then they fit into it. I had just briefly touched on the different careers that you can actually go into. With digital, you can choose to maybe choose to just solely deal with the data behind the scenes. So maybe become like a data analyst, looking at the information you're getting from these different platforms. You could choose to work in content, maybe your page to actually create the content for a company's social page, to interact with this digital sphere. You could actually be the one who is tasked with, again, dealing with the social, but not just your social, but also looking at other socials, like looking at influencers that you can use as a brand. There are various careers that you can actually go into. Digital analyst, where you're looking at maybe predictive analytics. You can be looking at content. You can be working with the databases. You can be part of the creative team, coming up with creative ways to engage with customers through all these different platforms. So I believe that digital is not necessarily, I feel like it's not to be viewed as something on its own, but something which kind of is integrated to all the other elements of marketing, whether that is consumer behavior, whether it is advertising, whether it is data, whether it is sales, right? Whether it is the physical retail store. The digital aspect is also integrating, and most companies are merging the two. So it's not one or the other. Most actually finding ways to merge online with offline content to create a more seamless, more enjoyable experience for customers. Yeah.
I think it was very exciting to me when you did mention that with the AI, digital marketing could predict in the future how would a customer would behave, even before the customer would know themselves would behave in certain way.
Exactly.
So digital marketing kind of give me a goosebump. But again, that is the way we are living right now. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm sure that Surrey has a lot of relevant courses, professors, and even the experts that will be able to help students in their academic journey to be the profession in their career.
Yeah. Yes, we do. And as I said, a key thing is, as you can see, we have the gold ranking in terms of the highest level in terms of teaching excellence framework. And also we do really understand the importance of merging academic learning with the practical world, not just in, as I said, how we deliver the modules and the content, but also how we endeavor to actually link or have a link really with industry, whether it is getting speakers in. So if I'm talking about being a content manager, get a content manager to come and tell you the day in the life, say what they do every day. Maybe they will say, at least now with Zoom, maybe they're able to tell us a video, 15, 20 minutes, and then, just describe what it is on the ground so that students are able to actually connect the dots for themselves. So yeah, I think it's a relevant course in this day and age. And I think it's something which has been made even more relevant within the last, I would say 8 months since the pandemic happened, because everybody really, if you were not there before in terms of digital, you have migrated to digital now, because, for example, in the UK now we are in another lockdown until the start of December. So currently all of the stores are closed, all of the restaurants are closed, all of the hotels are closed. So if you're shopping, you just have to shop online. Now sitting at your desktop and shopping, clicking away, fine, it's fun, at least it's very fun for me because I like to shop. But then really, as a brand, you're thinking, how can I actually take the physical experience of being in the store, the best elements of it, and combine it with the best elements of being online, create a more real life experience here for the consumers. And that's why now we're seeing people using augmented reality, virtual reality, trying to engage the senses, which you can only really engage in a kind of like face-to-face setting. So it's exciting, and honestly, I think in marketing, it is one of the most relevant areas and aspects to study now, because as I said, it's really connected to every other aspect of marketing. It's not just something on its own, but it's just knowledge you're going to learn, which you can then use in the various aspects within the field of marketing, which is quite wide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think we all could agree today that digital marketing doesn't mean you are sitting at the back room and analyzing data, but it's about bringing people out of their digital area, and then they can even connect with the physical real world through data, right? And with the augmented reality that is possible, with the virtual reality that is very possible.
Yeah. Exactly. And if you are the kind of person who likes to just sit somewhere in a room and not be disturbed, you'd maybe do well if you just want to sit at the back with a computer, to each his own. But then if you're not, then it's not limited to just somebody sitting in the basement and punching away on some like giant computer. No. It's wide, it's exciting, it's fresh, it's ever changing, and because new tech is coming up, it's just bringing newer possibilities for us to even be more creative. So it's really just like a kid being in a candy store. There's just so much you can do. If you're excited and you're creative, then you can actually go really far in this particular industry. And also, you're going to be very marketable, because right now, even without COVID, the employees who have some sort of experience in this digital area, whether it's knowing how to work with software, maybe predictive analytics, etc., is very relevant. And I'll ask your students, just go and look at the job advertisements that are there. Look at digital, anything related to digital, they want somebody who at least has some experience in maybe analysis of some data, or how something works, even from a social area. What reach means, just element of learning and creativity, and you can just have so much fun with it.
Well, thank you, Dr. Sheena, for joining us today.
You're very welcome.
And we did learn a lot of things, and hopefully when time has allowed, when you come back to Thailand next year, please give us a visit.
Sure. I'm more than happy to come. As I said before, I'm open to invites. If I'm invited, I shall turn up.
Thank you, Dr. Sheena, and have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
All right then. Thank you so much. Bye everyone.
Bye ครับสำหรับน้องๆนะครับที่สนใจที่จะอยากเรียนต่อทางด้านสายมาร์เก็ตติ้งเนี่ยพี่แบงค์ต้องบอกอันนี้ขออนุญาตพูดเป็นภาษาไทยแล้วเนอะต้องบอกก่อนว่าของ Surrey Business School อะครับเราสามารถมันมีมาร์เก็ตติ้งโปรแกรมอยู่2แบบนะครับเป็นมาร์เก็ตติ้งโปรแกรมอย่างแรกคือหลักสูตรที่น้องๆต้องมีประสบการณ์ทางด้านมาร์เก็ตติ้งมานะครับและแบบที่2ครับเป็นหลักสูตรที่เป็นเรียกว่า conversion คือน้องๆเนี่ยไม่จำเป็นต้องมีแบ็คกราวด์ทางด้านมาร์เก็ตติ้งทำงานสายอื่นมาก็ได้เพิ่งจบใหม่ก็ได้นะครับก็สามารถที่จะมาเรียนทางสายมาร์เก็ตติ้งได้เหมือนกันนะครับวันนี้ครับเรายังมีเวลาอยู่กับคุณอิซาเบลอีกประมาณ15นาทีครับมีใครที่จะอยากเปิดไมค์พูดคุยก็ได้นะครับหรือว่าอยากที่จะเข้าไปคุยกับคุณอิซาเบลเนี่ยเดี๋ยวทักเข้ามาในแชทเลยครับเพราะว่าตอนนี้เรามีคิวว่างแล้วนะครับดิจิทัลมาร์เก็ตติ้งก็เป็นสายหนึ่งที่น่าสนใจมากนะตอนนี้เพราะว่าอย่างคุณชีน่าทิ้งท้ายแบบว่าอยากรู้ว่าcareer นี้มันฮอตขนาดไหนก็ลองไปเปิดในเว็บไซต์หางานเอานะครับก็จะเห็นได้เลยว่าทุกองค์กรจริงๆที่แบบต้องการคนที่มีความสามารถแล้วก็ประสบการณ์ทางด้านนี้คือถ้าเกิดเราอยากที่จะสร้างโปรไฟล์เราตอนนี้ครับก็แนะนำเลยว่า Digital Marketer หรือว่าทางเป็น Marketing ที่มีCIM หรือว่าตัว Accreditation ที่เป็น Chartered Institute of Marketing นะครับสำคัญมากๆว่ามันจะเพิ่มโปรไฟล์ให้เราในการหางานอัพโปรไฟล์ในการเพิ่มฐานเงินเดือนนะครับมีใครอยากเปิดไมค์คุยไหมครับสามารถคุยสอบถามเรื่อง admission requirement เรื่องค่าใช้จ่ายอันนี้สามารถทำได้เลยนะครับมีไหมเอ่ยนะครับก็ Surrey ก็ถือว่าเป็นมหาวิทยาลัยหนึ่งที่มีชื่อเสียงโด่งดังนะครับติดท็อป30ของมหาวิทยาลัยในประเทศด้วยนะครับนักเรียนส่วนใหญ่จากประเทศไทยไปเนี่ยก็บอกได้เลยว่าไปเรียนทุกหลากหลายสาขาเลยเนื่องจากว่าUniversity of Surrey เนี่ยถือว่าเป็นมหาวิทยาลัยที่เป็นกลุ่มใหม่ๆที่เน้นการเรียนการสอนที่ใช้ในเชิงปฏิบัติการจริงนะครับ IELTS ก็ไม่ได้สูงมากครับอยู่ที่ประมาณ 6.5 แต่ว่าทางนี้ทางนั้นก็ขึ้นอยู่กับโปรแกรมนะครับนักเรียนไทยส่วนใหญ่เนี่ยที่จะไปก็ เขาชอบเซอร์เวย์กันมากๆเลยว่าอย่างแรกเลยคืออากาศดีนะครับอย่างที่2เลยไม่ได้ไกลจากตัวลอนดอนเท่าไหร่เพราะฉะนั้นถ้าเกิดเราไปเนี่ยเรียนแค่1 ปีนะครับใช้เวลาในการท่องเที่ยวในการเดินทางตรงนี้ครับโอกาสของเราก็จะมีค่อนข้างเยอะโดยเฉพาะตอนนี้เนี่ยวีซ่าของประเทศอังกฤษเนี่ยเขาเริ่มเปิดแล้วสำหรับนักเรียนที่จะไปเรียนปีหน้าว่าเรียนจบปุ๊บนะครับปริญญาโทสามารถอยู่ต่อหางานที่ประเทศอังกฤษได้สูงสุดถึง2 ปีเลยแต่ว่าทั้งนี้ทั้งนั้นเนี่ยก็ขึ้นอยู่กับว่าเรามีความสามารถในการหางานหรือว่ามีความสามารถในการเรียนตั้งใจเรียนขนาดไหนเข้าถึงโอกาสเวลามี career service มีนักพูดมาจากองค์กรอื่นๆเข้าไปฟังไหมสร้าง connection ด้วยตัวเองหรือเปล่านะครับปัจจัยเหล่านี้ก็สำคัญมากเลยวันนี้ครับพี่แบงค์ขออนุญาตขอทิ้งท้ายไว้แล้วกันว่าถ้าเกิดท่านไหนสนใจที่จะไปเรียนต่อประเทศอังกฤษครับขอให้ IDP Thailand นะครับเป็นหนึ่งใน option agent ที่สามารถน้องๆเข้ามาสอบหาข้อมูลหรือว่าช่วยในการสมัครเอกสารต่างๆในการเรียนต่อต่างประเทศได้นะครับยังไงวันนี้ครับทาง IDP Education Service ก็ขอบคุณน้องๆและพี่ๆเพื่อนๆทุกคนที่เข้ามาในสัมมนาวันนี้นะครับแล้วก็เจอกันอีกทีนึงนะครับเราจะมีสัมมนาเกี่ยวกับข้อมูลอัปเดตต่างๆแบบนี้เรื่อยๆนะครับก็ติดตามชมผ่านช่องทาง Facebook แล้วก็โซเชียลมีเดียต่างๆของ IDP ได้นะครับวันนี้ขอบคุณมากนะครับสวัสดีครับเดี๋ยวสักครู่นะครับเดี๋ยวคุณเดียสนใจคุยต่อนะครับได้เลยครับเดี๋ยวขอทางคุณแอดมินเดี๋ยวรบกวนสร้าง breakout room ให้คุณเดียนะครับ
ได้ค่ะ
นะครับท่านใดที่สนใจที่จะอยู่ต่อในการคุยกับคุณอิซาเบลนะครับอยู่ต่อได้เลยครับเดี๋ยวเราจะทำห้องอินเทอร์วิวต่อให้นะครับส่วนสำหรับวันนี้ท่านใดที่อาจจะต้องเดินทางหรือว่าต้องการข้อมูลเพิ่มเติมภายหลังครับแชทเข้ามาได้เลยครับแล้วบอกว่ารบกวนติดต่อกลับหน่อยนะชื่อนี้เบอร์นี้อีเมลนี้นะครับก็เดี๋ยวทักเข้ามาได้เลยครับแล้วเดี๋ยวเราพรุ่งนี้เราจะส่งข้อมูลกลับไปให้นะครับโอเคคุณเดียเข้าไปในห้องเรียบร้อยแล้วใช่ไหมครับแอดมินโอเคขอบคุณมากครับโอเคท่านที่อยู่ต่อตรงนี้นี่ถ้าสนใจข้อมูลให้ส่งอีเมลเข้ามาบอกได้เลยนะครับแล้วนี้คือคุณชิราได้ส่งอีเมลของเขามาให้พวกเราด้วยนะครับก็ถ้าเกิดสนใจอยากคุยสอบถามเรื่องข้อมูลตีโทเอกนะครับจะเป็นทางด้านไหนของ Marketing ก็ได้ครับเขามี Marketing Strategy Digital Marketing นะครับแล้วก็มี International Marketing นะครับถ้าผมจะไม่ผิดนะเขามีหลายหลักสูตรมากเลยสามารถสอบถาม IDP ได้เลยเพราะ IDP เนี่ยถือว่าเป็นตัวแทนโดยตรงของทางมหาวิทยาลัยแล้วก็เราสามารถที่จะช่วยเหลือในการขั้นตอนการสมัครรวมไปถึงการทำขอเรื่องเอกสารวีซ่าได้ด้วยนะครับยังไงต้องขอบคุณทุกท่านมากนะครับสำหรับที่เข้ามาจอยในเซสชันด้วยกันวันนี้ขอบพระคุณครับสวัสดีครับDr. Sheena Yes I think the session today has ended successfully and thank you to you we will be we have finished our recording session and after this we will be sending out to you the information that students have so that we can help provide with a better and accurate information to the student regard to your program.
Awesome. And I've also dropped my email there for anybody who wants to email me directly. No problem. We can always even meet up on Teams or on Zoom. So I know this session was like a lot of information. So some of you are just thinking, so just feel free to reach out anytime. And I just want to wish everybody the best. And again, thanks for having me. And take care of yourselves and stay safe and have fun.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Sheena. And I wish you a good day. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
โอเคครับถ้าเกิดใครมีคำถามอยากทิ้งท้ายไว้นะครับพิมพ์เข้ามาในแชทบ็อกซ์ได้นะครับเดี๋ยวพี่แบงก์ก็อยู่ตรงนี้ครับเดี๋ยวจะตอบคำถามไปให้เรื่อยๆนะครับ